So we're sharing stories of the ROSH, the legendary Rosal Azan Gesund und Stark. The Rosh Yeshiva Rabbi Shochat was interviewed in Kvachabad. Several Chassidim were interviewed of their personal stories with the Rebbe, and it's fascinating. So here's a story which he relates. He says as follows. When I was he's a brilliant man. I don't have to tell you, the man's a genius, and he's a wild person. This is going on the internet, but this is no secret. I mean, wild in the virtuous sense. In the virtuous sense. We need to say that there's no limits. There's no limits, as he said before. They asked him, what did you see by the Rebbe? He said he found, here is a person that's going to give me the emes without dressing it up. As it is, no limits. She tells a story. When I was a lad, a youth, looks like he's in his early teens. So I read many stories on through G'doli Yisrael throughout the generations. How the Alter Rebbe wrote the Shulchan Aruch when he was very young, before he was 20. The famous Chef Shmaita, this is a sefer written by the author of the K'tzas HaChoshen, which is, it's like anybody learning Gemara in depth in Litvish Yeshivas, Lubavitch Yeshivas, Chef Shmaita is a staple at the highest level of learning. So that was written when he was also a teenager, and many other examples. So I wrote to the Rebbe. So he writes a letter to the Rebbe. He's living in Toronto. And I wrote, Rebbe, if I'm going to try with all of my koyach, I'll never get even to their ankles. So maybe learning is not for me. This is what this teen writes to the Rebbe. And with this question, I also wrote all my spiritual tests and struggles that I had in various matters. The Rebbe's answer had a profound effect on me. With respect to what I wrote about my spiritual state, the Rebbe wrote to me, and he says it was all in Yiddish. I wrote in Yiddish, so my answer was back in Yiddish. So here's the translation of it. You certainly have Sefer Atanya, and here you'll find the answer to your question or questions. I'm not sure if looks like your questions. And if you have an edition of Tanya that has a Maftech and Yanim, an index, it'll make it easier for you to find the answer to your specific question. As for the second question, beautiful answer here, friends. I'll read it in translations in the Hebrew here. That which you ask, that which is related in Svarim, and likewise in oral tradition, passed down orally, about those that in their early years, they were great Iluyim and Gedolim b'Yisrael. In general, what is the gain in asking questions why people have different, in the same Shabbos, people have different intellectual capacities? What's the gain by asking this question? Especially in light which is explained in Tanya in Perek Daled, that grasping Torah is dependent on one's ability and the source of one's nefesh l'mayla. And as he explains there also in Perek Lamed, on the Mishnah that a person should be humble. Bifnei kol adam, a person has to be extremely humble before each person, that each person has a mila over the other. And likewise, it's also mentioned in Geras HaKodesh, Samach Vav, Siman Vav and Siman Zayin, that tzlacha of a particular person is in a particular mitzvah, and that's where his domain is. Because so they're at arose in Hashem's will. Each person has, in other words, as their avodah and their capacity and their shlichus. And it's a big pella that Rebbe says. Your whole approach is I like to see the Yiddish, but it's a pella. It's strange. Because the purpose of a person is not to ascend and become greater than his fellow. But as the Mishnah says, I'm created to serve my master. And if the Eibishter wants this person should be a godly in mitzvahs and tzedakah, the other one should excel in Torah, and the likewise, so is it. Each one needs to excel in the intent of the Creator, which is invested, which Hashem wants from him, that he's holding by. End of quote. The Rebbe writes to me, says very strong words, that my whole approach, that I want to be great in a certain area is Tamor, Tamor is not strange, but
wondrous. Wondrous.
Sounds like it's a virtue, but Tamor is it's a nice way of saying, like, you know, the purpose of a yid is not to be a gadol. He says, now him speaking as a shachat. I'm created to serve my master. And the matzah that Hashem placed me in, with the talents that He gave me. And that's what you can excel in, that's your job. However, the Rebbe added a sentence. It self-understood that this which it says, only the aforementioned from Tanya, where it talks about the unique mitzvah, what's the unique mitzvah that a person should excel in? That's where he has a talent. Or the Rebbe says, by the way, where he has a challenge. So that's only, that says the Rebbe to him in this next paragraph, for Zirus Vahadofa. This is over and above one's general mandate. But every Jew is obligated in all the Teach mitzvahs and Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. It doesn't mean that you do not put effort in everything. And he said this final sentence, wow, he said, the Rebbe really talked to me. Because after what he wrote till now, I thought, okay, so I'm not going to become the Gadol B'Yisrael. I should go into the Askonis. I should become the, tzedakah, business. So forget it. Torah is not my thing. So by saying this, the Rebbe said, you're not exempt from anything else. So sit and learn and do what you got to do. And things will develop as they would. Of course, he became a very great Rosh Yeshiva. All right, tomorrow, an amazing story that happens in Yechidus with him. An amazing story. Okay, that'll be Beis Hashem for tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bracha v'atzlach, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Kol tov.